Good evening, I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and this is Politics Unplugged, and we start with the changing political landscape. It all started for the race for the U.S. Senate and has trickled down to the city of Phoenix. Just over a week ago, Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema announced that she would run for the U.S. Senate, where current Senator Jeff Flake faces what could be a tough primary against Kelly Ward. That opens up her congressional seat. And this past week, Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton said he will run for that, which will leave his position on the council open. And one of the people who would like to step into that role is Daniel Valenzuela, who currently represents Phoenix District 5. Thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank you.
Councilman, first question I have for you is, why you? Why should you be mayor? Why do you want to be mayor?
I love our city, Dennis, first and foremost. I love our city, and I have a track record of bringing people together as a problem solver to fix real issues, to move our economy forward, to diversify our economy, to keep people safe, to strengthen our neighborhoods, to create new ways of helping along the education of our city. And these are real problems, and I have a track record of helping with that, and I want to continue.
Now, the mayor's position on the council is really one of building coalitions, actually,
Yes.
because, you know, it's just one vote on the council. Give us an example of at some point on the council where you had to build coalitions to get something passed.
I feel like we build coalitions, and I personally build coalitions quite often. At the end of the day, there's something that that's important to me, and just in relationships. My dad taught me when I was a kid, you never sacrifice a relationship for an outcome. You know, if you know you have to work with that person, and he was actually telling me that about my brothers, right? But if you have to work with that person, there are a lot of a lot of issues that we have to continue to work through in this city, and knowing that, find the common ground, the common thread, and build from there. And it's been working for us. I mean, we have to do better, but it's been working for us. And
I also want to mention that you are currently a Glendale firefighter as well as serving on the council.
Yeah.
How long have you been with the fire department in Glendale? And are you planning to step down to run? Are you planning to step down if you are elected mayor?
I am very proud of being a Glendale firefighter. It's a different type of reward. It certainly isn't a financial reward. I've been a firefighter for 15 years. I am a lifelong Phoenician, and my heart is in this city. But frankly, my heart is of public service. And I got to tell you, no one in 6 years has ever asked me to stop helping people as a firefighter in order to govern in our city. And I'm looking forward to continuing to move our city forward, again, by moving our economy forward and education forward and so on.
So, you know, the way I read that, you're not planning to step down as a firefighter. Would that distract you from your job as mayor, which can be a pretty encompassing job?
Well, look, I'll tell you this. We've had mayors in every city in the state, including Phoenix, definitely Phoenix. We've had mayors that are attorneys, mayors that are lobbyists. We have elected officials that are developers and so on and so forth. I'll never apologize for being a firefighter. And I will also say that in 6 years, no one has cast more votes than I have, and no one has been more present, frankly. And, you know, look, what I will promise is this. Governing in this city will always remain my top priority for as long as I am elected here.
Okay, let's talk a little bit too. You know, one of the criticisms that might be out there that hurled at you at the campaign is maybe your connection to the fire department. The fire union, one of the most powerful political unions in the state right now. You know, is your connection, your plan to continue to be a firefighter, would that create a conflict of interest if you're voting on dealing with issues with public safety, particularly with fire departments?
I voted on many things, but you know, as a council member in Phoenix, you know, I had to cast a very tough vote, and we had to impose contracts on unions, including firefighters, and what that meant ultimately was a pay cut, a very uncomfortable vote. But at the end of the day, it was about moving our city forward. You know, I will also tell you, I have a great deal of support from the business community. I mean, I've chaired economic development for the city of Phoenix for several years. I chaired downtown aviation. I do those types of things. I have a lot of support of course, with public safety. And again, I will never apologize for being a first responder. And I have a lot of support within our neighborhoods. So I guess you can sort of pinpoint or pick and choose, one section of support and criticize that section of support. But the fact is, I am currently everyone's council member. I want to be everyone's mayor. It's about bringing people together and moving us forward.
Gotcha. And, another thing I wanted to ask you about here. You are not planning to resign your council seat until Mayor Stanton steps down to officially to start running for Congress when he files his petition signatures, and that could be until May. I guess my question for you, as somebody who wants to lead the city, be a financial steward of the city, do you think it's the right thing to do for Mayor Stanton to continue in his role, possibly until May, collect a paycheck that entire time while he is preparing to run for Congress? Obviously, there are no rules that prohibit him from doing that, but is that the right thing? Is that right by the taxpayer?
I will just say, in all fairness, Mayor Stanton has been an effective mayor for our city, and he has helped move our city forward. And, let's be fair to the mayor. Now, as you just said, there are rules, and at some point he has to resign, and that's up to the mayor. The mayor has to figure out what the timing is for there. As far as I'm concerned, the focus and my focus is, again, continuing on putting government first.
It's another 8 months of paychecks he's going to be collecting. And that's, you run that's between $50,000, $60,000 he's going to be making in between that time when he's running for Congress, which is a pretty all-encompassing race to do. I mean, again, is it just the right thing to do by the taxpayers?
Well, again, the mayor is going to do what the mayor is going to do, and I'm sure certain things will play into those factors. I mean, the mayor has been, the questions will be, are you president at meetings? Are you governing? As far as I'm concerned, if you're not voting, you're not governing, right?
Sure.
And so that's my personal test. And, the mayor and every council member on our council has been voting, and so have been showing up, and ultimately it's up to the constituency to vote him in or vote him out.
Okay, and I want to kind of stick with dollars and cents here. Obviously, the numbers are a lot bigger. I want to talk about the sale of the hotel, the Sheraton. Now, you voted to get out of the hotel business, but the sale comes with a $50 million loss. It's $255 million. You're selling it to some developers from Florida. That's $50 million less than what is owed on that. And this comes as we finally find out that the hotel is actually making money for the first time in a couple of years. Is that smart, to sell a business, to sell a hotel at a loss when it's profitable?
Well, first we need all of the facts, and I think it's fair the way you framed it. That said, as you just said, we are losing $50 million. So if we're losing $50 million, are we really making money, right? Yes, it may be true that the hotel has brought in about $15 million in the last 3 years. We are still $50 million behind, and the question is, do we really want to stay in this private sector and be in the hotel business? Some will argue we should have never been in the hotel business. That decision was made in 2004. I was not on the council. I'll tell you what, I was, if you see it as a problem, I didn't create the problem. It's my responsibility and my colleagues' responsibility to solve that problem, and it was important to get out of the hotel business, and that's what we did.
Okay, and speculation too is that you guys wanted to get this off the books to clear more bonding capacity to help the Phoenix Suns with their arena upgrades. Are you supportive of that? Should the cities be involved in sports facilities anymore?
Well, okay, first let's just that arena is a city-owned arena, first of all, I personally believe that the next version of our downtown should have our Phoenix Suns in it, but it needs to be responsible, and we have a fiduciary responsibility here. I think the days of municipalities building brand new arenas for sports teams, sports owners, they're out. They are certainly out in Phoenix. And the question is there something that could be worked out between the Phoenix Suns and the city of Phoenix, because there is a dual benefit, undoubtedly.
Okay, and last question, we are running out of time here. I wanted to ask you about housing in Phoenix. Right now we saw a recent report that showed that renting houses or condos is up, on average, about $150. That's about $1,800 a year. likewise, the cost of housing to buy a home is continuing to increase. Are you all worried that Phoenix is becoming unaffordable to live in right now? And what are you going to do to ensure that there continues to be affordable housing in the city?
Well, we do have, affordable housing plans. I mean, I've sat on the housing subcommittee, for my entire career so far. I chaired downtown aviation economic development, but I serve on several. The focus here is raising the types of jobs, bringing the types of jobs that works for everyone in this economy. We've diversified our economy. You've read that, the federal government has come out and stated that, we've actually had an incredibly high increase in pay that relates to those high-wage jobs. And yes, there's going to be a trickle effect in the way that rents are going up and so on and so forth. But, that's a balance that we have to continue to strike. But one thing I will say, we shouldn't stifle our economy in order to keep housing at a low rate or keeping renting, down. Let's move our economy forward and let's work through that.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. But that's all the time we have for this segment. Good luck in your race and in the future. And we have more to come here on Politics Unplugged right after the break. The lessons we can and cannot learn in the wake of the massacre in Las Vegas. And will that deadly shooting rampage prompt action in Congress? Even some GOP members say it's time to take a look at bump stocks. A closer look at this device the Vegas killer added to his arsenal. Still ahead.
You've seen it all over social media. At least 20 veterans commit suicide every single day.
Nobody can tell me the system's working.
So we wanted to know what's happening to change that.
We're going to take you out to a new 130-acre retreat here in southern Arizona, taking our hurting heroes back to their warrior roots with new therapies, new healing rituals, new hope for our heroes.
A 3TV Originals, Thursday night at 9:43, only on 3TV.
The Valley highways and streets are busier than ever before. Unfortunately, that results in more accidents. Injuries from a car accident can be painful, devastating, and even life-changing.
Nobody plans to be in an accident, but unfortunately they happen. If you're suffering in pain, call Emergency Chiropractic. They will treat you with no deductibles, no co-pays, and no out-of-pocket costs.
Emergency Chiropractic, the kind of care you want today.
Buckle up.
Look, isn't that Frank Thomas?
Oh, the big hurts.
More like the big hunk. Wow, Frank Thomas.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. You look like you could still be playing. That's what I said.
Well, I am feeling stronger and leaner.
So, Frank, what's your secret?
I discovered Nugenics.
I wish my husband did.
It's easy. Just send a text.
If you're a guy over 40, text 42424 and enter the word SMASH to get a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenics is a unique man-boosting formula powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help boost your free testosterone levels, to help you feel stronger, leaner, with more energy and drive, more passion, too.
Here, try a bottle. And trust me, she'll like it too.
Text 42424 and enter SMASH to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenics. Samples are not available in stores, so text 42424 and enter SMASH.
She found the perfect parking spot this morning. She found the perfect spot to park her sign this morning. There's a McDonald's for every morning. Make every morning great with a $1 any size McCafe coffee.
At least 20 veterans commit suicide every single day. What's happening to change that?
We're going to take you out to a new retreat here in southern Arizona with new therapies, new healing rituals, new hope for our heroes.
Thursday at 9:43. 3 on Your Side with Gary Harper. Weeknights on 3TV.
And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. This past week, 59 people killed, more than 500 injured in Las Vegas by a man who opened fire on an outdoor concert, a man who had a cache of weapons he used to rain bullets down from a hotel across the street from the concert. A man intent on killing as many people as possible. And joining us now is security expert Steve Adelman to talk about what lessons we can and cannot learn from these types of tragedies. And I just kind of want to start with you and, just what's the take-home message here? We've talked a little bit before the show. There's really not a lot of lessons to be drawn from this.
Well, that's right. There are very few lessons to be drawn from this one. So the question that I get asked a lot is, will I or the people I love be safe when they go to a show this weekend or next month? And the answer to that is yes. Mm-hmm. Sunday night didn't change whether you're safe going to events, because Sunday night, the shooter didn't actually go to the Route 91 festival at all. He never tried to penetrate the security perimeter. The security there was excellent, but besides that, nothing the shooter did implicated festival security. So the first issue, are you safe going to a show? Yes, you are. Sunday night didn't change that at all. Next, people ask, well, am I safe going to a hotel? Because the shooter had an arsenal up on the 32nd story of Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. To which my answer is, well, let's look. Let's look and see what Mandalay Bay had. And what they had was an extraordinary number of professionally trained people who know what to look for, and they're looking for behavior that doesn't fit the context, people carrying things that don't make sense in the lobby or on the casino floor. And these are people who have enormous amounts of experience looking at everyone, because it's a major hotel on the Las Vegas Strip.
I mean, that's kind of the frustrating part, is you look at this and we tend to always want to assign blame. Somebody screwed up here, or somebody should have done something there. And from all intents and purposes now, from what we know, nobody really screwed up. This guy just went ahead and carried out this heinous act.
That's right. So the usual blame game doesn't work with Sunday night. The festival security was great. The hotel security was well above standard. It's the Las Vegas Strip. They do it better than anyone else. So when looking to assign blame, we naturally have to go to the shooter, the man on the 32nd story who had a 1,700 square foot suite with windows facing in 2 directions and AR-15s, scopes, and tripods ready to go.
Just let me ask you, too, because this is getting into a little of the political thicket here. When we start talking about the attack and how we carried this out, a lot of attention have been given to the bump stocks out there. Now, these are devices that are used to make a semi-automatic rifle actually act like a fully automatic rifle. In your experience, as a security expert, could he have carried out the amount of damage, amount of carnage that he did, had he not been able to purchase something like this?
I'm not a weapons expert, but we now know what a bump stock does. So as of this week, there's a new term in people's vocabulary, bump stock. I suspect most people never heard of it before this week.
Including certain politicians who are now talking about, putting regulations or banning them.
Right. And so the answer to your question, to the extent that I know, is a bump stock allows more bullets to be fired faster. And so the answer is, absent the shooter having a bump stock, he would have needed more time to fire the same number of bullets. That's just simple math.
Yeah, and the other interesting part to this whole thing, too, is this is such a different type of shooting. It's not, usually you hear some arguments from the pro-gun side saying something to the effect like, you stop a bad guy with a gun with a good guy with a gun. Well, that wouldn't have mattered in this situation. And consequently, on the, the side that would like to see more gun control, they want background checks, these types of things, and by any appearance at this point, there were no red flags raised by the shooter. He would have passed any type of background check that is out there. Is there anything else that we should be learning moving forward on this?
Well, my question is, what turns a guy into a shooter? And the answer is guns and ammunition. So if you're looking for something that can change, and you can't change the event security and make it reduce the amount of carnage, and you can't change the hotel security and make it reduce the amount of carnage, you can change the availability of weapons and ammunition, because that would have reduced the amount of carnage.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by here. That is all the time. We're going to have to take a quick break here right now, but we do have more to come here on Politics Unplugged. Right after the break, some GOP lawmakers may be ready for action on gun control. We'll take a closer look at the one item that they may be ready to ban here on Politics Unplugged.
Thank you for calling Lerner & Rowe Injury Attorneys.
Thank you for calling Lerner & Rowe Injury Attorneys.
Thank you for calling Lerner & Rowe Injury Attorneys.
Hurt in a wreck and need to speak to an attorney? We're available 24/7. Get the help when you need it right now. I'm attorney Kevin Rowe.
977-1900. On game day, football players aren't the only ones suiting up. Our crew's ready for any play.
Yeah. Can I get one box? Extra sauce. Hydrated Idaho tailgate to go.
So that's a box combo with extra cane sauce, fresh squeezed lemonade with crinkle cut fries, and a 25-finger tailgate.
Nailed it.
Football is just part of who we are. Proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals. Go Cardinals.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Thanks for letting us come into your home each week. We pray for you, and we're believing that you're going to see God's goodness in amazing ways. Stand still, and you'll see God deliver you. When you remain at rest, Almighty God fights your battles. Everybody around you is going to have no doubt the God you serve is an awesome God. I promise you this, every time you turn us on, we're going to try to inspire you, to challenge you, to help you become all God's created you to be.
Yeah, call this the cradle. You sleep like a baby.
When we saw that the mattress industry was broken, we didn't rest until we'd fixed it. We're Tuft and Needle.
Learn the truth at tn.com.
Oh, hello. You look like you could use some new flooring. Just call Express Flooring today.
Just call Express Flooring. We'll come to your home for fast, free in-home shopping. Lovely home, by the way.
Save 70% on all in-stock flooring, including pet and stain-resistant flooring. Plus, we'll even move your heavy furniture for free.
It's simple. Express makes it easy. Call today.
Express Flooring is the best. Call 800-EXPRESS.
Getting hurt in a wreck can ruin your day, but speaking to the insurance company before calling us can ruin your life. Pick up the phone and call us first. We'll deal with the insurance company and make sure you get every dollar you deserve.
Call 977-1900.
Also handling criminal and DUI defense cases.
And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. It's time to talk it out with our partners from First Strategic. With us today, Marcus Dellartino and Barry Dill. And also joining us today is Barrett Marson. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today. And let's talk a little bit about the Valenzuela race, his decision to jump into the mayor's race. Full disclosure, Mr. Marson does press, works for the Valenzuela campaign. Barry, we'll start with you. Chances here that he's going to come out the victor?
Well, it's always good, first of all, to be the first one, because the whole point you want to do is sort of is clear the field. And it hasn't been a well-kept secret that Councilman Valenzuela has eyed the mayor's race for a long time, and so I think by getting out first, getting started, getting organizing, hiring staff people or consultants or whatever, that gives him an initial leg out of the gate.
Phenomenal consultants, you might want to add.
That's debatable.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's totally debatable.
The interesting point about this is you have 4 incumbent council people that are thinking about running for mayor. And, you almost wonder if at some point an outsider who's not involved in city government decides to run for mayor, and looking at those sort of dynamics.
Yeah, and talking about, the person who wants to be the next mayor, let's talk a little bit about the current mayor. He's going to be jumping into that CD9 race for a run for Congress. Barrett, break that race down for us right now, at least on the Democratic side.
On paper, it is probably Greg Stanton's race to lose. But again, on paper, it was Hillary Clinton's race to lose, and she did lose it. I think you got to throw the paper out. Will Greg Stanton face a challenge from Democrats, from someone like Chad Campbell, who can be just as bombastic and firebombing as Greg Stanton? That's going to be the big question, I think, over the next 3 months.
Yeah, and Barry, Stanton's pick, is that going to mollify like the grassroots elements of that? Because Mayor Stanton does represent the establishment. He's the current mayor of Phoenix. The grassroots folks that tend to be a little bit more left, a little bit more progressive, they're going to be happy out in that area. with Mr. Stanton? Or are they going to want somebody else?
I think they're going to be happy taking a look at several candidates. I mean, let's don't forget, this is a district where Hillary Clinton won by 16% last year. It's also a district where Fred Duvall in 2008 beat Governor Ducey by 13%. So I don't think it's just going to be a rubber stamp he's going to have to work at it. Of course, he's good at raising money, and he's got a history, but he's got a record, as well.
And it is a short, I just want to say, it is a short time. It's literally 10 months until early ballots go out.
Yeah, and Marcus, break down what are we going to expect to see in that district on the Republican side, because this is considered a competitive district as far as one of the more competitive districts here in Arizona. Any big names going to be jumping in on the Republican side? Well,
so far there's certainly not any big names. It's a lot of newcomers that are interested in the race right now, and some new names to politics and running for office. The only name that I've heard that would be familiar is former Democrat Rodney Glassman, who ran for United States Senate, who's now running for CorpCom, is thinking about getting into the CD9 right now as a Republican.
A Democrat councilman in Tucson, who's now all of a sudden
that would be the only new one.
And Paul Hickman did tell me on the phone, he did confirm to me, he's the head of the Banking Association here in Arizona, a former McCain staffer. Yep. He did confirm to me that he will be running for that race. I mean, someone like him maybe get access and raise some money and put up a pretty good fight, right?
You can put up a good fight, but let's be realistic about the dynamics going on here. Yes, Republicans have a small registration edge, but it performs Democratic, number one. Number two, you're looking at a midterm election. Usually does not go well for the incumbent party of the White House. And you see the state of where the country is on some issues. It's either really far to the right or really far to the left. But it's going to be a difficult race for Republicans. I mean,
if the economy is doing well, and while Trump has his issues, it depends how he plays in that district. But if the economy is doing well, Republicans will have a shot.
All right, let me ask you, about real quick, moving on to the Senate race, another big development in that. Jay Heiler, Arizona Board of Regent member, told me that he is considering a run for the Republican nomination for Jeff Flake's current seat right now. What does this do to the race? Is this a big deal or not a big deal?
It's a big deal. First of all, I think it tells you that the White House learned a lesson out of Alabama, and that is the White House political operations, Donald Trump himself, and Steve Bannon are all now in agreement that they need to find another candidate. They agreed on Jay Heiler, and they're actively recruiting him. And it changes the dynamics of the race. But interestingly enough, everybody should know Laura Ingraham is also scheduled to come to town this week for Kelly Ward.
Well, let me tell you what I think is the most significant part about it is from the cinema perspective, the bigger the party on the Republican side, the better off she's going to be, because that makes the likelihood that Senator Flake is going to run, and her numbers right now against Senator Flake are excellent.
And we were running out of time here. I do get to this issue, Barrett. Do you think Congress is going to move on banning bump stocks, or do you think this is more talk, no action?
I think this is the least they will do, or the least that they can do, in the way of gun control.
Repeal and replace the Second Amendment. That's my position.
Wow, that is even unpopular.
That's my position.
Yeah, I think the dynamics are starting to come together, but I think that the conversation will also lead into what revolving around mental health of gun buyers.
All right, guys. Well, that is all the time we have here for this week on Politics Unplugged. And Marcus, guess what? We didn't talk about the president this week for the first time in a long time.
And I owe him $500 because I bet we would.
All right. Well,
it's
guys,
a sign of more to come.
Well, be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night, guys.